Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's December 3rd, 2023, and I'm about to turn the leaf pile or compost or leaf mold section here. I'm in Elon, the excavator, the Takeuchi TB 290, and I'm about to turn it again. And I've gotten a couple of questions recently about considerations when I'm doing this. One question is, do I water this to maintain the hydration level of it? And no, I'm pretty fortunate. We're getting rain right now. We had snow, it's melted, and we'll be getting plenty of rain and snow all throughout the winter months. If anything, the increased moisture content can slow the microbiological activity down some. So that potentially is a concern, but the lack of water isn't an issue. We've actually never had to water our large composting pile systems. So if you go back in our videos, and there's playlists about large pile composting, where I've used my tractor to turn these. It takes me a few hours to turn the big piles and all, much larger than this leaf pile. So that's one question I had. I did have another question from Dan. Dan wrote, and I'm not wearing my glasses right now, I appreciate your video and all. You have a nice operation. I have always been under the impression that inoculating a pile of leaves is better with older aged leaf mold than with soil. That soil can actually retard the fungal processes. Your thoughts? And so that's it. Dan, you're right on the money. I've made videos about this in the past about proper inoculation. So to do with this pile right here, every year I do this same thing. So this soil that's decomposing here, this leaf mold, the soil that we use for our in our food forest and in our for potting up our berry bushes, our trees, and all of that. That all comes from this pile, which is all leaf mold that's with some other compostable weeds and other garden wastes as well. But it's predominantly fungal dominated. So if we look over there in the forest floor, I don't know how well you can see, it's a little bit of drizzly and dark and dreary today. But one of the beautiful things is the whole forest floor is coated with leaves that have fallen off of all the trees. And because of the soil succession stage, it's predominantly dominated by a greater proportion of fungal organisms relative to the number of bacterial organisms. Now there's also all of the different arthropods, microscopic organisms, the protozoa, and there's this whole food chain. And I've made a video in the past, I'll try to remember to link it down below. It's called Soil Succession. I have a whole bunch of videos on soil, from understanding the difference between sands, silt, clay, gravel materials, all of those things. I break those down in other videos. But soil succession talks about how we can transfer gradually, or how nature actually does it, from taking a grass field or a prairie area or an area that had volcanic disruption, and gradually the soil transforms from a bacterially dominated soil to a fungally dominated soil. So really good point, Dan. And so when we first started this whole process, where did we get our inoculant from? In the forest. I've done the same thing because we use wood chips in our food forest as well, mulching around trees and all. And how do I inoculate that? We get the inoculum from the forest floor. So if we want to provide the right microorganisms for our trees and berry bushes and all in our food forest, certainly choosing the correct inoculum to mix with your leaves or straw or whatever else you're doing, hay, garden waste and all. If you want it in your food forest, trying to get it to become more fungally dominated is really important. So our lawns are basically bacterially dominated, and that's why the weeds take off in there so quickly and easily. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to use Elon to go ahead and turn the pile. I don't know if I'll record any of this because it's a dark and dreary day. And another question I had, or a comment I had, was please keep us updated on the progress of this pile. So right now this is less than a month old. It's only a couple of weeks old, the pile. And the volume, now a lot of that's compaction and compression from the soil being mixed with it, but the volume is gradually reducing over time. So I think that we're getting a higher inoculum to the surface area of the leaves as we proceed here. So I think it's going well. We'll see over time. I didn't put the thermometers in it today to see what the temperatures are. We're not doing thermophilic composting, but I'll guess it's probably around 70 degrees Fahrenheit at this point. So a little bit better than the upper 30s and lower 40s that we have here right now. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the pile. Okay, well, I just finished turning the pile. Got a real nice pile here. Pretty darn excited with. So this is where the pile was. I'd say 75%. I don't actually turn 100% of the pile. And of course, the stuff that's in the bucket of the excavator, that gets distributed and rolls down the sides as well. So a lot of leaves will make their way right down the sides and all, but I'm pretty happy with how this turning went. Not overly wet at all, and you may be, I don't know how the video, so I did shoot a little bit of video from a little camera I've got right here, and that, I don't know that it'll show, but it will look like steam. It isn't steam, it's just some of the warmth from in the pile, with the microorganisms being quite active and all. So really happy with the amount of biological activity that's presumably going on in here. And I'm sure that this is fungally dominated. And you might have seen there might have been some squash. So we did take some squash pieces and material and all from Thea doing a lot of prepping for winter, freezing a lot of our squashes that don't last as long. So they were all in here as well. So really happy with the progress of this turning process with the leaf mold, or the compostable leaf material that we're doing here. So that's it for today's video. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. And I'll try to remember to put a link to the soil succession down below, or maybe in the video someplace as well. Always appreciate a thumbs up and comments. That always helps out with other people getting to see these videos as well. Thanks so much for watching, and have a safe and productive day. Bye-bye now.